Welcome back, everybody. You find our insipid heroes, I believe I called them last time. They're about to split the party. What could go wrong? Only one person could tell us. The handler. Over to you.
Thanks, Dave. Yeah, where were you? That's a very good point. So, you got a few more leads. You got things to look at. Pat, you were going to reprimand a federal vehicle of some sort and just go for a drive around some
Yes, a federal vehicle. I was just going to steal the nearest car.
You could ask a copper to drive you around if you wanted to.
Could do, but we're like halfway towards the medical examiners. I mean, I was just going to jump out, see the nearest car that was stealable, and take it.
Fine, okay, no problem. In a way, kind of gloss over it. What car did you steal?
Nothing too untoward. I'm guessing like some kind of Mondeo, maybe a 1998 Mondeo. Not a gear or anything, just a standard everyday family saloon. Like,
what colour?
Probably indiscriminate colour would be navy blue.
Okay.
No one plays that in snooker.
Fine. You don't need to roll for this. You know what you're doing.
I do.
I presume you picked that car because you could get into it. You could. Boost,
oh yeah, it's a long thin blade down the back window.
Yeah, the pros of being a master thief, right? I'm not going to ask you to roll for it. Brilliant. For a fucking change. So let's go with you first, Patrick. Where are you going first?
Well, we'll take them in order, and no, we won't take them in order at all. We'll go backwards from what you gave them to us. We will go to Bark or Back with the whole double 11-year experience.
Yeah, so the husband-wife team in Bark.
Yes.
Okay, so you were half the way onto the medical examiner, correct? So you're kind of about here. You boosted, and now you've come back over here. So for you, let's do some concurrent timelines. Blimey, don't make it easy for me, do you?
I've never seen a DM with his own whiteboard, so like you're doing better than most.
How long does it take to boost a car?
A Mondeo, about 35 seconds.
Okay. What, to get it started as well? That's
yeah.
You arrive at Bark at 4. You're just outside. Their Google address is like a small office in a... what is that?
It's the homunculoid coming down to touch your head.
It's a small ground floor office. Pretty kind of bog standard, a kind of commercial. I call it a commercial building. So a single entrance for like 4 or 5 little small businesses, entrepreneurs, and businesses. Like
single office in a big building.
It's not a manned foyer. It's just a single kind of entrance in, and then you go and find your way.
One question: what badge do I have on me?
What badge do you want on you?
Well, I'm guessing for this sort of investigation, I don't want to rock around with the CDC one, so I want the FBI one.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'll knock on the door to Bark and Wife, or whatever the fuck it's called.
You press the buzzer or knock on the door or whatever.
There.
And a middle-aged guy opens the door. You can see just beyond him, there's like a little kind of waiting room. So there's a little like reception away from the main atrium sort of thing, landing. It says, "Hello, sir. How can I help you?"
Hi, I'm Agent Adams with the FBI, and I flash my badge.
Oh, badges. Do come in.
You sound ever so happy, sir.
Oh well, kind of. I always wanted to be like a federal officer, but I retired out of the SPD because of my back.
Oh
And
no, was it?
I don't think I was ever good enough to join the. I don't think I was ever good enough to in any way to specialise and then to join. But hey, there you go.
Well,
This
you
is-
never know. We do have positions in just analysts. You could have always tried, sir.
Analists. Was that?
Similar turn. Need to ask you a couple of questions, if that's all right, regarding an investigation going on down the road. I can't remember what.
Sure. So you're standing in his little kind of waiting room. He sits down, invites you just to sit.
I'll need to see any files you have on you about Theobald Greaves.
Theobald Greaves. I mean, I can arrange those for you. Do you need to give me any paperwork requesting that, or is this like a favour? If you know what I mean,
well-
and he kind of wink, like.
If you do have relevant information, I'll be forever in your debt. I could waste my time with going down to local jurisdiction and getting a warrant, but I don't really have time for that. As you know, we are very busy in the agency.
That's fine. You're welcome to take copies of whatever you want. You want to come in? So he kind of opens, presses a little keypad on a door from this small little waiting room, and there's a little open plan office with 3 desks, 2 of which one's got a woman sitting there, and she looks up, says hi. She's a middle-aged woman,
Color of her hair,
short brown hair, and she introduces his wife. This is Marianne Bark. She's a partner here.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Hi, officer. How you doing, officer?
Agent, please.
Oh, right, okay.
Not quite special yet, but my mummy always said so.
And Mrs. Bark kind of gives Mr. Bark the eyes, and Mr. Bark explains that you to allow her to allow you to go through the files.
So one question before I start looking through this, Mrs. Bark. Do you own or use a brown Lexus at all?
I do not know.
Interesting. Have you ever heard of a Theobald Greaves?
There was something on. Obviously, you're talking about the. What was it, love? What was it? It was a. They're saying now that it's murder, and they found some nasty stuff there or something, and Mr. Bark nods his head and says, "Yeah, that's what I've heard. Is that right, Agent? A murder and some kind of poisons or something?"
At this stage of the investigation, we can't say anything, as you're probably aware, Mr. Bark. Sorry. There's nothing I can forelay to you yet.
You're quite welcome to look through our files. We hold a lot of digital filing, which is not available to you to have straight away because some of our clients are have us locked down on confidentiality. But you're welcome to help yourself to the files that we've got here. I will ask again in a federal agency way.
You have not in any way come across Mr. Greaves or his wife, Amanda.
Roll me a persuade.
Okay.
Come on, Pat. Luck of the Irish.
Right. Mr. Bark says we've heard on the local press. You're welcome to access all our files. We've done so much work over the last decade. We don't know unless it was a regular client, which which it isn't. We've not had him as a regular client. Then we wouldn't know. We wouldn't know whether we've been asked to follow someone or tap someone. But the name doesn't ring a bell. Officer to agent, the name doesn't ring a bell. Love, do you agree? And she nods her head.
Can I roll a human to see if I believe him?
Of course you can. You're convinced by him.
Okay. Well, I thank you very much. I'll take a quick glance over files. Obviously, not to pretend that I'm running away too quickly. I'll just look through their current case studies and stuff like that. Does anything stand out for me in that way?
No, not really. Do roll me a bureaucracy.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
I know, there's lots of rolling going on this time, sorry.
No, it's the bureaucracy is only at 10.
I know.
Over everything.
Nothing stands out. Nothing stands out, and you're thoroughly bored very quickly. You, as you say, you do your best to make it look as though you're kind of being thorough and not just going, okay, well, not gonna bother with you guys now.
I'm trying to copy the people that come and raid my flat every now and then when they pull out every little bit of fucking nonsense. And I'm like,
I'm going to say that politely you spend no more than half an hour saying hello, having a coffee.
yeah.
They'll bring you a coffee while you pretend to look through their files and then say thank you very much.
I will vacate. Their business is good. They seem honest. Not my number one things. They've denied having a Lexus as I walk out. I'll just check around to see if there is a brown Lexus about.
Would you walk around the block or something?
Just to see where they would the way you described it. I would guess it would be like a communal car parky type of area off of the street.
Yeah, it's off street car park. Yeah, so it's just a kind of
so I just have a quick look around to see if there's a brown Lexus there that might fit the description of Mr. Pepperfight.
There are no Lexuses.
Okay, so I carry on to my next target.
Of course, it doesn't mean that the person driving the Lexus a few months ago hasn't changed their car.
Yeah, you can tell me as much as you like, but I'm telling you what Pat thinks.
Cool. It's 4:30. David, sorry. It's 3:30 for you.
So I am approaching the Sonomish Medical Examiner's office, where I am hoping to meet with Dr. Louis Stubbs, the medical examiner / coroner.
Beautiful. Isn't another ginger-haired streak of piss? We kind of seem to be attracting them somehow. The medical examiner's office is a typical kind of... So it looks a bit like a community centre, but a fair bit bigger. It's actually got
another quick hit of the hip flask before he gets out the car.
It's come to that. Have you got the finger still?
No, Pat's got the finger.
Pat's got the finger. Oh right, okay. That's a new one on it. That's a new one. So as Pat...
I didn't take no finger. Don't give me this shit.
Yeah, I told you to bag it up when I was on the floor. I was sitting there. I told you to bag it up.
But you went to the toilet because of the finger started rattling around in your bag.
I thought it was rattling around in your pocket, and then you said it was my stomach, so I pretended to need the toilet.
Right. All right. It's in my pocket. You're the boss. You're the boss.
You got the finger.
You've got the finger. Are you scared of the finger?
I think we should keep on. I think it's a barometer of how bad things have got. I think we should hang on to it.
Just watching this video is probably a barometer as to how bad things have got with the general role-playing game community. So we've got... so you rock up, it's by the time you get there, it's 3:45 or something. It's still open. There's a reception desk. This building looks like the sort of building that would carry out... actually, that medical examiner's office is both somewhat bureaucratic, lots of pushing of paper, and they will store bodies. They will have bodies on cold storage, and they will do autopsies there. But mostly, it is identifying bodies, doing the paperwork, identifying any forensic details, i.e., details on the bodies that can translate into law or translate into something which is a forensic detail to be used in the court. Most of the time it is run of the mill. Most of the bodies that most of the people that die get registered through this office, but their bodies don't always need to be identified or opened up or anything. Dr. Lewis Stubbs is well known in the police community, and that's kind of it, really. It's nothing spectacular.
Roberta Kane spoke highly of him.
Yeah, and you know that generally medical examiners have spent like 25 years getting to this point in their careers. So they're normally highly trained pathologists. They know the law inside out, and they know biology and forensic autopsies inside out as well. So they're like highly skilled, but also usually good politicians and usually good bureaucrats as well.
So I'm going to make sure I've got my CDC badge at the ready.
Yep.
And I'm going to go in there in search of Dr. Stubbs.
There is a reception area. Traditional receptionist, one woman sitting there. She says, "Hi, how may I help you, sir?"
Excuse me, ma'am. I need to speak to Dr. Stubbs urgently.
Sure. And what's it involving, may I ask?
An emergency.
An emergency. What kind of? Are you flashing a badge? Are you?
Yeah, CDC badge.
Okay. Yeah. She recognises it, and she gets on the blur straight away. She doesn't even ask you to sit down. So she phones through. Hi, Dr. Stubbs. I've got a Mr. She holds the phone to her chest. Your name?
Hawkins.
Mr. Hawkins in reception for you from the CDC. And you hear like a babble on the phone, and you presume that's Stubbs, and you hear him say, "Okay, send him straight through, please." So you get asked politely just to go through some buzzed double doors, past a police officer who's kind of milling. Is it a police officer or a security guard? Actually, you'd expect a security guard to be at a facility like this, but this one's got a police officer. His radio's got a bit of chatter on it, and that you recognise as being cop chatter, but it's like cop casual. There might be a bit more security. You know that sometimes they put a little bit more security in medical offices when there's been kind of high profile investigations or incidents. So it's nothing weird, and the police officer kind of like winks at you, and you go through the double doors, and the woman on the reception says, "Second door on the right, you'll see the door." So you go to Stubbs's the door of Stubbs's office, and he opens up the door just as you arrive and says, "Mr. Hawkins, come in." Is it Dr. Hawkins? Is it? Sorry, I missed it on the phone.
Yeah, I'm not big with formalities though. Hawkins is fine.
Okay. Come in. I presume this is about Greaves's house.
Yeah. We're currently working in conjunction with the FBI, trying to get a handle on exactly what's going on here. Did you perform the autopsy yourself?
We don't have the body yet. So the way it went down was that I was called with Detective Dunser to go and attend an incident at 24th Drive, Southeast Mill Creek. And we got there, and there was a lot of weird stuff going on. And he kind of smiles to himself. The body on the driveway degraded very, very quickly. And we initially suspected that maybe the body had been tampered with or or some chemical reaction with one of the photographers. But they'd not been near the body, and I don't know what was going on, but that was odd. And then there was the whole secret room. So we got on the blower to Roberta, who isn't based too far away from here, and we shut the site down and handed it over to you guys, I guess. So I'd love to have a look at the bodies, but they've not released them. They want some reason, they want some authority to release them too. I guess that's why you're here. You want the bodies, right?
Yeah. I'm also interested in finding out exactly what happened. You say the corpse of Dr. Greaves disintegrated.
Yeah, that's what we understand. I've not seen anything like it. He kind of he brings you around onto the computer. He said, like, come and look at this. So he brings you out on his computer, and he accesses the photographic evidence for that case, and it shows you pictures of what's been described. He says, look, this has been taken over. This is like 16 shots taken over an hour or so, and it shows a Dr. Greaves with a huge. It's the best way of describing it. A huge injury to his face and lower neck, and Lewis Stubbs kind of pulls up a little. He's got a little app on his phone. He pulls up a little app showing like the injuries to the face, and a little skull. Well, you can see it. I might be able to show you. It might be a bit of fun. No, I don't have it. In any case, he says, "Look, this is what it looked like. It was kind of all blasted, and like the neck area was all shattered, and you could see that trauma was enough to normally kill a person. So it didn't seem all that unusual that he was dead when we arrived. And then our evidence team noticed a degradation where the body was. He kind of looks through. He goes and looks through some notes which are attached to the digital copy on the system. He says, it was over an 8-minute period. It was very, very fast. Sorry, do excuse me. We were there for about an hour or so. The body was collapsing into like a bluey black goo, and we grabbed some samples of it, but it solidified very, very quickly into like like hard candy or like rock, like Blackpool rock, like quite crystallized, and it smelled quite sweet but chlorine-y. And the whole process over the 8 to 10 minutes just kind of. And he's smiling, but even though he's a man of science, he's like, this is kind of awesome, and I really want to get hold of the bodies and have a look at them. The body like melted down and crystallized into a bit of a pool of bluey black crap, just leaving a hand and a foot. So looking on the photograph, you can see that the hand and the foot didn't move position particularly. It just kind of squidged out a little bit. So the body was in a natural position on the driveway. Massive injuries to the head, to the lower head and the neck. And over the period of those photographs, the body just kind of sunk and pooled into a kind of a glassy, hard candy. Stubbs himself and his assistant bagged the remains. And he goes on to say that those remains again are just awaiting release, just so I can have a look. Stubbs says, I'd push to get these released on criminal grounds, but with you guys involved now, we don't know whether it's safe to do so or not. So while I'd love to get my knife on these and have a look at what was going on and why there was this kind of very odd biological reaction, we need to make sure it's safe for everybody, including myself. Safe to do so. I can't just be calling up the local medical centre at Providence and telling them that I would like the body released, unless I can guarantee that no one around the building's going to die, or I'm going to turn into bluey glass goo when I cut things open. And it's for you guys to lead on that one. Have you got anything for us to go on? What is it you want to do? Is this a murder investigation, or is this an investigation into a leak or something?
As a CDC operative, I can't really speak as to the legal side of things. What I can tell you is that we are certain that this is not contagious.
Right. Good to hear.
So there'll be no risk to your colleagues. You should follow normal hygiene procedures, but you wouldn't need anything stricter than that. It's imperative that we find out more about the biology of what is going on here, and it would be really useful to us if you would be willing to step in and perform the autopsy, potentially with a CDC operative present, so they could be filled in on the details the moment you know about them. How do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, my duties as a medical examiner are, as you know, determining cause of death, establishing the identity of the corpses, which I think was pretty much done from photographic means anyway. I know that we had a lot of the body kind of dissolving on Greaves, but we had photographs of him beforehand, and it was pretty much obvious. It's a formality. Window of death is an important one. We want to know when this happened. More particularly is if it's not a contagious event. There seemed to be a lot of trauma involved in the woman in the house, and that seems quite at odds with the biological trauma that the male came across. So, in the eyes of the law, I'd be looking to do a forensic examination on the woman as well, to see what the terms of her death were. So looking at the biological factor as whether it's contributing to the suspected murder, because I still think that something murdered her. She didn't seem to be under the effect of a pathogen or a disease or something weird. So I want to look at whether there's any wounds and given that these people are both very dead, I haven't signed the death certificate either, so someone's got to do that. So I'm willing to help you guys out as long as it's safe and as long as it prevents other people from suffering the same fate as this. But do remember, I've got a duty to follow up on any forensic evidence that might lead to proving that there was more than just a melting body. I won't say I'm not curious as to what's going on, and it would be professionally, it would be really good to help the CDC out on this one because it's so unique. Round here, you don't tend to get much. There's been a bit of action recently. You don't tend to get too much action in this county, and this is, well, interesting.
Okay, Dr. Stubbs, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to do my best to get the bodies released to you guys, so you can do your autopsies. You can learn what you will. Hopefully, I'll be back with the bodies.
So, with that in mind, if you can hang around for half an hour, and you can't get the bodies, you see, because only I can. But what I need you to do is to sign the subpoena for me, so I can just get the court to release the bodies, and then I'll actually, you could accompany me over to the Providence Medical Centre if you like, where they've got a decent sized morgue and a decent sized, probably a safer area to do any examinations and so on. Have you got anyone on your team who's familiar with autopsies? I.e., anyone on your team who's not going to pass out, or who will know the protocol in autopsies?
There is Brian, who's a specialist, but he's actually got a bit of a cough at the moment, so he's at work.
Although, as an ex-homicide detective, I'm sure you're not going to pass out when you see the bodies being cut up.
I can come in, but I won't be much use. You know, if you're asking for tools, you're going to have to give me a vivid description of which one you want.
No, it's not an operation. I'm not going to ask you for a scalpel. Just, I need. If you, I'm gonna be conducting an investigation on the bodies. You're going to be you're part of an ongoing investigation that could potentially be a threat to more than just the bodies themselves. So I need someone who can. If you've been at the CDC for how long?
About 14 years.
14. And if Roberta is happy for you to do so, then you can accompany me at the when I look at the bodies, if you like that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Aren't you in your 30s?
I'm 38.
38. So yeah, that's kind of doable.
No, it ain't.
He's like excited somewhat. You go through the paperwork. Your subpoena is straightforward because he's just it's straightforward because he's a very good physician. He's a very good, like I said, he's a very good bureaucrat, and he knows how to fast track this. He does explain that like the earliest he can get releases because it's late in the day now. He won't be able to get access to the bodies until tomorrow morning, around about 8 a.m. So tomorrow morning, if you want to meet him at Providence Medical Centre, I'll book some. He'll ask to book a room, and he will make time from his very super busy schedule just to crack this one on the head if you deem this to be a priority.
Dr. Stubbs, it is a priority, and I thank you so much. The CDC, thank you. What you're doing could potentially save many lives.
Great. That's exactly what I want to hear. And Lewis Stubbs at the end asks you to roll a persuade just to make sure that, that all this is nicely bookended. Because you won't know either way. Bloody hell.
See,
what a beauty.
Nice.
He did say the coffee machine at Providence Region Medical Centre is dog shit, so if you can bring a flask or something.
Dr. Stubbs, one more thing. Did you notice those bloody tracks?
Ooh. Oh. Just one more thing. Is that just gone again?
So the last thing was
just one more thing.
Just one more thing.
Just one more thing. Dr. Stubbs, did you notice the bloody tracks that were around the house?
There was a few of them. It's not quite like anything I'd seen before, but in the fog of a crime scene, a lot goes on. Should we look at the photographs? Have you seen them? Have you seen them on site?
No, I mean I've been on site, but I'd love to see the photographs. It's very different when you're at a place and you look at photographs.
Yeah. So he kind of brings them up on his computer again, and he says, "Look, we've got like a fingerprint and a thumbprint here, and those will be run in due course, I'm sure."
Oh,
At the
just the
moment,
print of a finger.
hmm?
Just the print of a finger.
Yeah,
Not...
just the print. It's actually we thought it was a print of a toe, but it looked like a print of a finger. Um, that should be run once the investigation is up and running again. Once it comes away from the CDC jurisdiction, but the evidence team took some prints. You can see that it's a bit of a mess. It's like someone's made shoes out of the contents of a butcher's bin.
I can't see it.
And just no, I'm not showing you anything. That's why.
It's imaginary photographs.
Imaginary photographs. Yeah, look, I haven't got all day to go on Photoshop and I mean, if you really wanted to see a photograph, I could take you back to Grease's house. Fuck's sake. Honestly, you guys are like spoilt now. You're like, oh, I can't see a photograph that you should have spent 10 hours like mocking up.
Listen, you spoiled us, not us.
Yeah.
We was ready to do this on a plain board with some dice.
Yeah, fuck's sake. So there's a photograph there that I actually photoshopped to make the ruler on it like much bigger. So that's like, oh god, that's like a whole foot within 2 inches. God, that's quite scary, isn't it? Ooh, Delta Green, modern horror, modern Photoshop skills.
Well done.
Fuck's sake. So anyway, like back to Thread. So yeah, Stubbs describes it as like like someone had made shoes from the contents of a butcher's offcut bin.
Stubbs has got a fucked up imagination.
He then went on to say, no, not a butcher's. Probably someone made shoes out of the offcuts out of the bin in the autopsy room. It didn't really make sense. It almost looked like someone was trying to confuse the crime scene. Again, it's intriguing. What did you make of it? This is why would the CDC want anything to do? Is this a deformed creature or something? Is this like a wild animal?
At the moment, I'm just doing the grunt work. It's actually Roberta that's leading up that side of things, so I'm not entirely sure. I've just been told to stick with you and get the body scene through.
Cool. It's not vampires then, because only an idiot would think that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, it probably isn't. Although, seeing as their prevalence in sort of popular culture, you'd have to assume there must be some truth to the myth. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, idiots. Yeah, yeah. Good. So that's Stubbs. He's invited you to meet him at the medical centre at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Sounds great.
And it's it's getting on for like what did I say, about 4:30 now. They're closing shortly. You see the staff have been moving out of the Shnomis medical examiner's offices. People are making their way out to avoid the traffic. They're going to be closing at 5. Stubbs doesn't appear to be in any rush, but he's got you to fill in the subpoena, fill in your bits and pieces. He can't find your credentials, but it didn't seem to bother him, so he called Roberta Kane and got some numbers off her. You don't really know what the numbers were. Maybe it was some identification or confirmation of something. And that subpoena's done, and then he emailed that or whatever he did over to the court so he'd have the paperwork to go and take the bodies and play around with them tomorrow morning.
So my next mission will be to drive to Ernesto to go and interview him.
Cool. Okay. Where is he?
He's on the map down here, mate.
No, I just moved him there because you don't know where he is.
Oh, he went. Oh,
yeah, he's on the map down here, mate. Yeah, correct. Yeah.
He left the Swedish, but you don't know where he is. So your next point of call would probably be the Swedish to see where he went.
Yeah, I'll head to the Swedish.
Okay. Swedish is it's like a general infirmary. It's a large hospital. You go in. Do you flash your CDC?
Yeah.
They'll kind of like the people on the desk are all a bit confused and don't really know what to do with you. They kind of they get on the phone and they call the local police department and they say, "Oh, he's been discharged, sir. He's gone. He's gone home now."
I need his address. It's imperative that I see him.
I don't think we have that, sir. I'm afraid. I'm sorry. He was sent in with a couple of other people, and they were checked out in ICU and in confinement. And no, he's everything was okay. And I don't. Yeah, they're kind of looking at each other. They have no idea what to do with you. They're like,
I walk out of there. Then this is. Can I Google him and find an address like that, or do I need to hit up the police?
you can do whatever you like.
I want to
In
try and
America, a geezer got medical care without knowing his fucking address. Behave.
First of all, googling it is actually quite successful. In that he's the press have tracked him down, and he's been doing like little kind of interviews, and he's kind of so. You don't know his exact address, but he's Ernesto Torres from Creekside Mobile Home Park has been like, "Hey, yeah, I found the body, and oh, it was like dead, and like some guy had like cut him in the face, and the police came, and they thought it was me, and you know what? That always happens. They always think it's me, and they arrested me, and they locked me up. You know they didn't. Like they completely didn't. They locked me up, and then they sent me to hospital because they thought I was mad, and I was just delivering. He's like loving the limelight, like these very short video clips online.
So I'm going to head to Creekside Trailer Park then.
Cool. Okay, so you get there at. So you got to the hospital, say about 5, and you were there for half an hour. So and then you drive across town. Creekside's north, right at the top of the map. It just so happens that's where the map just ends. It's like by coincidence.
The invisible wall.
Fighting your way through rush hour traffic. You're loving it. So you're getting there about 5:30ish. Okay. And that's where we'll just hold you for now. Patrick, it's 4:30. You've just left Bark Private Investigators, where you don't know if you were barking up the wrong tree. Or not.
Funny fucker. Carry on.
So you've just left, you've gone, okay, well, great, fine. Where next?
That'll be the next one along, won't it? Dino, Burton, and Wells.
I forget what I called them. Dino, Burton, and Wells, wasn't it? Yeah. Well done.
Yeah,
Did you write that down?
I've written them all down now.
Oh, you have now, have you? Dino, Burton, and Wells. Those are the 2 surviving contestants from The Running Man.
They were the military-based ones.
Dino, Belton, and Wells. You Google their address. It is the Mill Creek strip mall, and you approach it and you go, "Oh, that was on fire this morning, and it's now somewhat a smouldering wreck of a place."
Hence why there was no answer.
Hence why there was no answer. There's a few fire trucks outside still, just kind of hosing the top of it down. It's still smouldering. It's quite a nasty fire. It's like a medium-sized mall, and their office, their address on the website is in that mall. So it's a commercial and also industrial centre.
Right.
Like business centre as well. The whole fucking place is like, I'm talking like 50 businesses. The whole place is razed. Yeah.
Sounds like they've run into a couple of D&G agents. Like,
They've been there for like 14 years. For what you can gather on Google.
I just have a quick look around, see what's about. Any grieving soldiers over their place of business?
Can you roll me a
Arson.
Your alertness is quite high, and you're sniffing around, aren't you? Like walking around amongst the fire brigade and the police and so on.
Yeah, I'm not looking for obviously a cause of fire at this moment. I'm looking more for people that would have worked for this place. They're ex-military. They would have had like a sense of duty to their office, unless they are black ops scum. So we will find out.
So
or not.
Because your alertness is reasonably high, you don't need to be rolling it a lot of the time. I'm just interested to know what you roll.
Well, that's a critical failure, isn't it?
There's no press or anything around here. There's no one that kind of like looks like they've got their like khakis tucked into their boots and like they've got a middle-aged. No one who's kind of like got military tattoos but got a middle-aged like boop sticking, like a beer boop sticking out.
All right. I resemble that remark. Fuck off.
The remaining fire brigade on there around. There's a lot of chatter going on, and there you pick up they suspect arson. Rather than it just being like a normal fire. You're hearing kind of people like talking about it and the remaining kind of teams there. A couple of like ex-military again you've got your ear to the ground a little bit because that's piqued your attention. A couple of the firemen who were like ex-Afghanistan veterans, military veterans. They're suggesting that it was engulfed in like bluey white flames, and you kind of hearing from them. They're like, there's a bit of bants going on. And they're saying blah blah blah. Or the FBI came to look at this, and they reckon, and I agree with them that it was clearly an M112 demolition block or C4. It's like it can't be anything else. Have you seen it? And the other guy's like, yeah, fuck, like I've seen that shit before. I tell you, that was like. That was thermite, man. That's not kids like lighting a bin up. That's incendiary, yeah? They're like, yeah, bro.
Thermite's orange, it was phosphorus.
So they're noting that the FBI who came to have a little sniff around because of the fire, not for anything else, kind of came to that conclusion, and also them maybe having, you don't know, but maybe having some experience of explosives or improvised explosives. Suggest that was a fucking demolition block because it's taken the whole thing down and it had a particular nature to the fire. I'm not suggesting that they're not suggesting it's supernatural. They're like, fuck, that is some like nasty kind of like military grade explosives taking that down.
It's screaming cover up.
Screaming 9/11. Jet engine doesn't burn. Doesn't turn metal.
Jet fuel on the burners, right? We're gonna get taken off YouTube for this shit. Speak truth to power.
Jesus, we're not going to get kicked off of YouTube for the other shit we've said today. You're joking. Have you seen what's going on in the world?
There's nothing to suggest that this is nothing but hearsay and rumor. But these guys see fires. These guys kind of tend to know what they're talking about, and particularly as they've said the FBI are starting to chatter about it as well.
Well, if there's a bluey-green flame and it's burnt down this place so far, I mean, using small amounts of thermite, even phosphorus to deter a security system in my line of work would have been like burning a safe hole with thermite, flashing a phosphorus grenade to blow out cameras, stuff like that. Might have been something I would have seen as well.
There you go.
So just to say, due to my indiscriminate line of work, I may have seen some of this burning element before.
The digging deeper on no, not digging deeper. Since you've got a file. Yeah, so that's where we're at. There's no one else that kind of seems to stick out or anything. It's kind of a lot of people standing around a smoky, stinking, flattened commercial area. Yeah.
Okay. They raise up. Maybe we want to find out actually who was members. We've already asked the handler if they was there. If he could dig out any more, that's fine. So it would be, for me, it'd just be on to the next one, which I believe was PT.
Okay. It is approximately 5:30. You arrive at the PT, which was who was it? Pro Tech Security Private Investigation. I think you gave it a 6 out of 10.
I did.
Their get-up is pretty standard. There's no one there. It's closed. Shut. It's just shut for the day by the looks of it. So
not serious detectives.
Not serious detectives. They're they want to get home for their dinner. Their offices are they're a small strip along the Beverly Park Road, and it looks like peering at the window and at the adjacent offices next door to them. It looks like it could be like a 2 or 3 room, like 2 or 3 office building. So they might have like a handful of staff. It's reasonably modern, but not very big organisation.
Yeah, well, I think we agreed that this one and Bach were a similar sort of vibe. They said they have access to female detectives if necessary. They do deal with disgruntled wives or disgruntled girlfriends, which is something that we might have seen, but not our number one suspect, basically. I would finally move around to WS, but WS was more to do with the fear-mongering of immigration laws and something else, so that's why we gave them a lower score.
Yeah.
I think basically we've found out pretty much what we need to know. I'd probably try and relay this to David at this point to see where I was, see where he was.
Okay, and you're about the same sort of time zone as well. It's been a few. There's a little bit going on, but quite what? Who knows? The traditional working day is kind of drawing to a close. You're approaching kind of 6 p.m. now. When you reconvene or when you talk, night is drawing in,
and the night draws us in. Sorry, what?
So I'm going to explain everything that I have found out to Pat. Say to him that, Stubbs is on board. He's going to, we're going to get the bodies released to him.
What about Crockett?
He's going to find out. Crockett?
Yeah. Don't worry. It's a joke for people that would know.
Okay, I'm not. So, yeah, Stubbs is on board. And then I think it might be a good idea that once Stubbs has found some stuff out, we go to the police in the guise of the FBI and commandeer all the evidence.
Agreed. One question.
Yeah.
Where are we staying tonight?
I don't know. We will sort that out after we've got one last thing sorted. Do you want to meet me at? Hang on a second. What's this fucking shithole called? Creekside Mobile Home Park.
Creekside Mobile Home Park.
All right, I'll drive up there and meet you.
It's not very glamorous. It's not a very
me,
glamorous place to stop for the night.
We're going to go and have a word with Ernesto. We'll then head to a bar, have a couple of drinks, something to eat, and find somewhere to rest our weary heads. How's that sound?
Sounds perfect, boss. Perfect.
Good old Ernesto. So, good old TV star Ernesto.
I think that'll be it for the day, wouldn't it? Shall we meet? We'll reconvene next time on Them Drunk Blokes Do the Third.
What's up?
The Third. Bye, everyone.
The third. Bye bye.